Good morning. All right. Hopefully this is the last video on rounding. In this one, I'm going to take the same numbers, 735 and 288, and round them to the nearest 10 and round them to the nearest 100. We're going to do the same rule because that always works for us. We're just going to underline a little differently, so we may have some different answers. So, rounding to the nearest 10, oops, I already started wrong. Erase. Very important. You want to underline the right number. If I'm rounding to the nearest 10, I'm underlining that 10's number, right? Looking to the right, I'm looking at 5. Is it 5 or higher? The answer is yes. So my 10's number goes up. So instead of 3, it's going to be a 4, right? So 7 stays the same, 3 becomes a 4, and the 5 will become the 0. So when we do this rule of 5, the number that goes up is the number that we're rounding to, the number we underline. The numbers to the left all stay the same if we have a bigger number. The numbers to the right become zeros, right? 288, rounding to the nearest 10. I underline my 10's number. It's the second 8, right? Look to the right, it's another 8. The rule of 5 or higher. 8, this 8, is 5 or higher, so my answer is yes. So this 8, the first one, the underlined one, my 10's 8, becomes a 9. So remember, all the numbers to the left over here stay the same. So I still have 2. This 8 here will become a 9. And this 8, in my 1's place, will become a 0. Now we're rounding to the nearest 100. So I'm underlining my hundreds number. I look to the right. It's a 3. 3 is not 5 or higher, so my 7 number will stay the same. So my answer is going to be 7, and then these two numbers become zeros. 288. This number, the 2, gets underlined because we're rounding to the nearest 100 this time. We look to the right. It's my first 8. 8 is 5 or higher, so it is going up by 1. So 200 stays the same. Oh, sorry. I'm not even listening to my own self, am I? It's nice to know that even a teacher can make a mistake. Look at that. So 288, 8 says my answer is yes, right? It is 5 or higher. So my hundreds number is going to go up by 1. So it's not a 2, it's a 3. And then my other two numbers become a 0. Now there are cases when you're rounding to the nearest 10 and rounding to the nearest 100, and you'll get the same number. So for instance, let me give myself a new number. I'm going to do 297. Right? And the first one I'm going to round to the nearest 10. So rounding to the nearest 10, it's a 9. And I look to the right. The 7 tells me that my 9 is going to go up. But when I go up from 9, I'm going to 10, right? And I can't put a 10 number here. So what I do is I put a 0 here and I put 1 over here. So 1 plus 2 is 3. This 9 is going to get the 0 that's here. So it becomes a 0, and my 7, because of the rule of what we've done on all the rest, is a 0 too. So 297 rounded to the nearest 10 bumps up to 300. All right, so here I'm going to go back and give myself 297, and I'm rounding to the nearest 100 this time. I'll do it with a different color, just so we got it, right? Rounding to the nearest 100. So 2 gets underlined, right? We look to the right, it's a 9. The rule of 5 or higher, 9 is 5 or higher. So it means my hundreds number is going up by 1. So instead of 2, I write a 3, and then these two numbers turn to zeros. So in this case, 297 rounded to the nearest 10 is 300. But 297 rounded to the nearest 100 is also 300. Sometimes it works out that way. Sometimes, most of the time, it does not, as you can see from here. All right, good luck.